Great.
All right.
I know you were super stoked I was here on time.
I know, right?
I just did that because I wanted to talk about those things we can't talk about on this.
It was a first. I am doing a podcast with Peter, Jennifer's singer fiance. We're going to do a podcast on concealed carry and what to buy and all those steps. So stay tuned for that.
You got to do it live so I can talk trash.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Where's Ron?
Dude, I don't. You know Ron. Canadians. Happy Monday there, Hunter.
What's up, Hunter?
Training, diet, super stops.
Chris Aceto mentioned Ron on Heavy Muscle Radio the other week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, something about like politics and stuff like that. He said, I was talking to Ron Partlow. And he mentioned something about the prime minister leaving or saying he's going to leave. Something like that. Hey, speaking of the devil, there he is now.
Devil?
There he is now.
Matt.
We are live,
geez.
Ron. What's up?
We're already live, buddy.
Watch your language. Guys. Couldn't get my camera to work.
Oh, no kidding.
Same as last time. Yeah. I rebooted my computer, though, and now it works.
All right. Hey, tap your mic for me for a minute.
Tap, tap.
You're not on that microphone.
Okay.
You are just...
Ron might need to hang up and come back. Guys, this is the behind-the-scenes stuff that you normally don't see.
Only we're actually... we're not on for like 4 or 5 more minutes on the normal days because we're always late. I was on time, everybody, just so you know. So that's impressive.
Which is a first. No, that's not a first.
Close.
All right, here's Ron now. We got 60 people already. What's up, Ron?
Tap it.
Microphone.
Oh, buttery smooth.
Oh,
there we go.
Smooth jazz radio right there.
You know, sometimes you just got to take it out and put it back in, right, Dusty?
Oh, they love that. I mean, the microphones do.
So it's just something's not right, but you take it out and put it back in, and everything's good.
World's good.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. You know.
Oh, look at Daniel doing it at work. That a boy. You don't need to work for the next hour or so.
No.
Focus on this.
Zach's with us too. What's up, Zach Gunther?
Oh, Jeff made it for his first live.
All right.
Zach.
Oh, yeah. I've had an office job before, so all you people that are dicking around on your computers, here, this one's for you.
Zach's bigger already. I can feel it.
He is.
Is he?
Yeah, nice. He is. He's grown. He's growing better now.
It doesn't shock me one bit.
And there's Lucas.
What's up, Lucas?
Does Lucas ever sleep? Aren't they asleep in Europe?
No, he doesn't do that. They've got pre-workout for that.
Pull this up by Stoneward. That's something people need to know.
Stoneward.
Lucas is an international man of mystery, so he could be anywhere on the planet. He could be somewhere where they're wide awake like us.
Yeah. What does Stoneward say here? He says, when you hit subscribe, you got to change notifications to all instead of personalized. Otherwise, it won't notify you of the live. Hey, I've had multiple people message me over the last month, and they say, are you guys still doing the podcast? I'm like, what? For real. We
just stopped.
Because YouTube hasn't been giving them notifications of it happening. So just throwing it out there, guys. That's what the subscribe button and the bell. The bell is all about it.
Ring the bell, but only once.
Subscribe and bell. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys...
We didn't bring it in yet. We were waiting for you.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, okay.
We need you, buddy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. Today we're going live. I'm Big Ron Partlow. We got Dusty Hanshaw and the producer, Scott McNally. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Ring it. Go. Yes, and remember, IamMutant.com. Go to IamMutant.com. Get your ISO surge, get your all in, and everyone should get on the gear. Use that code Dusty or Big Ron. Save yourself a bunch of money. Keep us employed. All that stuff. Thanks for watching the show. Remember, when you go to IamMutant.com and you use our codes, it's direct evidence to Mutant that the show is charging on, and they will keep sponsoring it.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Yeah.
Justin's mom is also watching. Shout out to her. That's awesome. She gave us a hello. Love it. See, I love when the moms are in on the mix too.
What about, did we announce Jay Cutler's a subscriber?
Oh, yeah. We should.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, since Jay's a subscriber, he's probably faithfully watching, so we got to say hi to Jay. Yeah, we'll just put it in the intro.
Every episode.
Say hi to Jay every episode. Yeah. Every episode.
Ring the bell. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay. Yeah, I'll insert that into my greeting next time. You know, of course, it's Big Ron, Dusty Hanshaw, the producer, and then just off camera we have Jay Cutler, always joining us.
I just picture him eating oatmeal,
Yeah,
just like he always has.
sitting there with his
Just like
giant bowl of oatmeal again. Yeah, with a little spoon.
97 rice cakes.
Yeah, eating plain rice cakes.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man,
Going back to plane.
yeah.
No.
So how are we doing? It's good to see everybody live. I see the comments. I would like to stop and mention each one, but then we wouldn't get anywhere, would we?
Although
No,
I
I
am
just
marking
shout 'em
any
out.
questions they have, because I know we got some topics and stuff, and then once we pound through those things, we'll take all the listener questions that they want to leave us. So
Okay.
we're with you guys. We're with you.
Okay.
Keep them rolling.
I
Nice.
yeah.
Good.
So I have news.
That's it.
What is it?
I am going to retire, do nothing, and just stay home with the dogs. I've decided.
Nice.
I like that plan.
All right. All right.
So you essentially have my job? That's cool.
Yeah. I just decided I'm checking out. It's just me and the dogs. That's my
I like
day
it.
from now on.
Is Emily
Yeah.
gonna just take care of everything moving forward, or how's this gonna work?
I don't really know what she does with her day. I don't know. I'm not going to bother her. She comes and goes. She doesn't ask for money, so I just want to keep that going.
That's good.
Right? Like I don't need to know. She never like, can I have $20 or anything like that? That never happens. So not going to disturb.
That's a good
know?
situation. It's a
Yeah.
good setup.
Yeah.
I've decided that Ron needs to buy a second house in South Carolina so he can come play as an American. I just think he should. We do so much stuff down here.
I know.
It's got green. It's not too hot. We have everything you need.
See, so there's that whole like, that's cool. But then I also thought the other day, I kind of like to do nothing.
You do nothing here.
You'd be a little too obligated,
That's
what it
true.
would-
You
do
would have to
nothing
like
here.
go places every now and then, which would be weird.
Yeah. And another good thing about here is that the people here know that I don't want to come.
You already got them broken
Right.
in.
Yeah.
So they don't, I just don't get invited to anything. Like my business partners don't even invite me over for barbecues. Like, what'd you guys do this weekend? Oh, I had a barbecue. There's like 30 people at my house. Like, oh yeah, hope you had fun.
I get the invite, but they will actually tell me with the invite, we know you're not going to come, but we wanted to invite you.
Yeah. We're tonight at 8. Like there's no notice anyways. Like you couldn't even go. Like
Right,
tonight at 8, we're having a thing. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks for the non-invite. I'm just kidding. It's not quite that bad, but
Oh, look at Zach.
the
He's like,
trend is moving in that direction. I never see you at anything. Yeah, I don't get invited.
yeah, perfect. Bum, bum, bum.
Okay, just the way I like it. So, Dusty, we need
Yes.
to discuss what is going to happen to our lives and our businesses when we're no longer pros.
I got to tell you, my whole life shifted like so many others did immediately. When I heard I was going to lose that IFBB and it was gone forever, I was like, well, there goes the only sign of legitimacy I ever had. But they bounced back and said, well, you really old people, you're grandfathered permanently. So Ron, as much as my life almost ended, they brought it back for me.
I did not know this. When did you hear this? What is this?
Yes,
news?
they came back because there was such an uproar about it. And
So how old? Like are old? Like we're the
anyone
old cutoff? Like what's the-
anyone before like last year is fine.
Oh,
So basically,
So
it's
I don't have
moving
to change
forward.
my. I'm not going to get sued by the IFBB if I don't change my Instagram handle. They're not going to come after me with litigation.
I was going to actually start doing like Dante used to do. You got a lot of you guys listening won't know this, but on the board days, people used to put in their bio like,
Yeah.
won
Oh,
the
it's
state
like, yep.
championship of this and this.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to
Wisconsin
laugh
state champ.
because
I'm looking
Dante
at you,
had
David
like
Day.
Dante had like 1987's third place dart champion, and then
Yeah.
like he had like badminton stuff written in there.
Nice.
I was
Yeah,
like,
my
there
one
we
buddy
go.
had a Canadian high school bodybuilding champion.
Just completely. I liked his better though because they were just way off the part. Like lawn darts,
Yeah.
third place,
Yeah.
1986. You know,
And then I don't remember who it was, and if he happens to see this, he's got to message me and remind me. But I had a friend that he put like his name and then IFBB bro,
oh, that's beautiful. That's
and he just left it. like for a long time. It was IFBB bro. Because he thought it was all so annoying. Because I don't want to be part of this, but he put IFBB bro. I just thought that was funny. I was like, maybe that's what I'll do if, I don't know.
If it all came to an end.
So I was all ready to have this chat about my world collapsing, and now you're telling me I get to stay an old irrelevant pro.
Yeah, we're still irrelevant. It doesn't matter, but at least we can write it down still. So that's good.
Good, because I did not want to have to explain this to my 85-year-old father.
Yeah,
I just thought it was such a great. I thought it was great, just the outrage. I'm like, but you're not doing anything with it, anyways.
Yes.
And it didn't mean you didn't turn pro. Like, I don't know. They couldn't call me and invite me to a show and promise me money and still get me to show up. I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to hear that, Dusty. I was all oh.
Yeah, that's why I didn't tell you when you text me. I was like, oh, Ron's whole life's going to end. I'll make him wait till Monday to tell him it's fine.
And drop it on him during the show.
This weekend, I went to Juniors a few times in your, just for you, Ron. I went to Juniors while we were in Vegas, thought of you, sent you the photo. I'm like, had many a $85 breakfast there. It's great.
Yeah, if you're going to pay $85 for a breakfast, Juniors would be like a good place to do it, you know?
Oh, but there's a taco place across the street from there, and we're walking by, and Nikki goes, "Oh, we got to try that tomorrow. It's on Instagram. It's everywhere." And I'm like, we'll see. We walk in there. There's about 300 people waiting in line for tacos.
No,
my entire life changed to the point that I got to go for the flight yesterday. I was like, "Yeah, we're taking some tacos to go." The place was amazing.
That seems like a lot of work
in there. You just stand in a line and you just wait. Oh, Harvey has something to say.
That just seems like a lot of work. Yeah, tacos to go to the airport.
I'm going somewhere else at that point.
I'm driven.
Yeah,
you guys don't want it as bad as I do. You're not as fat as me.
No, you know what my airport thing is in Vegas?
What?
I go get one of those. What's the shake place in the airport?
Shake Shack.
No, not like that type of shake, but like the the healthy protein shake place.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I would never know that.
No, I mean,
yeah.
Especially
I get one of those,
it's like $27 for a small one, I bet.
Yeah. But see, I don't gamble or use prostitutes, so I just take that money and I put it towards the shake on the way out of the airport.
You earned it. You earned it.
I budgeted for it. Yeah. But I always I laugh at the menu because it's got like the real healthy menu. Like there's like the detoxifier and the liver specialist, and they got all that stuff in there. And I'm like, oh, this is like people leaving Vegas. Yeah, I get it.
They're gonna need that. Maybe an IV or something while they're
some extra ginger. Yeah.
All I needed was my crypto to keep banking because it was an expensive weekend, but well worth it.
I'm glad you had a good time on your 1-year anniversary.
Today.
I'm sure all 99 people watching live right now wish you a happy 1-year wedding anniversary, Dusty.
Yeah, I mean, how could they not? We're well on our way. She's sick and dead. She says, was it Jamba Juice, by the way? Nikki was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She knows. Okay. She knows what's up.
I get the Jamba. I get like the peanut butter chocolate one. Because like those aren't the shakes I make at home. You know what I mean? It's got like frozen yogurt in it. It's all thick and creamy, and they're like giant,
Yeah, $87. Perfect.
Yeah, but it's not tacos to go. What else we got going on?
I got something for you here. Hold on a second.
I know Scott's
do a little bit of internet wizardry. I'm going to bring up a picture of Regan Grimes at 303 pounds at 17 weeks out. That's all I got is his back shot. What do you think of that?
That's all you need.
Yeah.
He's pretty good off-season shape. He's tucked in around the glutes and hams. He's definitely not too fat. That's a big 300 pounds.
Yeah.
That's what a dad bod looks like these days, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
17 weeks right now, it says.
Yeah.
From the New York Pro.
It's pretty tight. Like if you look down around the ankles and calves, he's not carrying like a bunch of fluid. It's usually where you see a lot of it, right, on guys when they're 300. So he's like pretty tight 300.
Nothing like hanging off his trunks, you know what I mean? Lower back.
Yeah. You know, he's still got lower lat line and everything like that. Although with that much muscle, you should.
Yeah.
A guy that big shouldn't ever lose certain things. You know, you'd have to be super fat to not see them.
I'm more annoyed that you guys aren't pointing out the most impressive thing about his physique, which is the fact that he still has a full head of hair.
No kidding, right?
Doesn't even make sense. I mean, there's a bright light shining down there, and it's just hair.
Yeah,
just hair everywhere. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Is he 30 yet? He's 30 now, isn't he? He could be 30.
He's still 22 as far as I'm concerned.
Me
He's
too.
been 22 for like a decade.
Yeah.
Well, I know he did the
but
juniors. He did the juniors, which in Canada is, I think, 21 and under.
Okay.
And he did the juniors in 2015.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's like 31 maybe or 30.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Continually getting better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regan's one of my favorites. Plus, he kills this process as well as any Canadian bodybuilder ever has.
Yeah. Yeah. Regan's good.
What do you guys think? So 17 weeks. I mean,
Who's doing that show?
Yeah. I don't know.
This is the worst podcast ever.
Yeah. We don't know these things. Put us on the spot like that, Dusty. But what I'm wondering is, you know, long, slow prep versus fast, hit it hard prep. What's the shortest prep you guys ever did?
12 weeks was my usual when I started.
Yeah.
And then they became 20s, and 20 was always way better for me. Nice and slow, never even felt like I was in prep. 20 was the way to go. Shortest prep I ever did was 8 weeks. But that sucked.
Did you just like get in there and just start starving from day one?
Yeah, it was terrible. And you know what's weird though? The look wasn't any worse. It's just the prep was an 8-week prep felt longer than a 20-week prep.
It was like panic ridden.
Sucks from like day one, and every day you're looking, you're like, I'm not sure until like 2 weeks out. You're like,
yeah, you have no relaxation time at all.
Yeah, none.
Yeah.
So I actually just stayed on the step mill the whole time.
Check this out. Dane, who's a listener of our show, knows more than we do about the show we're talking about. Says he was on Fuad's channel and he reckons he's going to beat Nick at New York Pro and Pittsburgh.
So here's a thing about Regan is, you know, that conversation about like who's the best Canadian bodybuilder, men's open bodybuilder, you know?
Yeah.
And everyone talks about like Fuad and, you know, Ian and like all the guys that, you know, went to the Olympia at least once and all that stuff. There's like, even though he hasn't placed at the Olympia like other people, he's won pro shows. And if you just look at Regan's physique, like with like not the way the judges judge, but you just look at his like front double, his side chest, his back double, he's not missing anything. Like he's possibly the most complete of all of them.
Yeah.
And still has the ability to get better, which is frightening. And I mean, I see the potential in him to be the best Canadian open bodybuilder ever if he can pull it off, but it's still possible because he's so young and so big and has such a great physique already. You know what I mean? So there's time there for him to move into that conversation because I never hear him mentioned, you know?
Yeah. I think
Ian had all those wins and did well at the O and all that. So it's hard to top that.
Yeah, I guess for me, because when I think of professional bodybuilder, I think of the word, which means making a living from bodybuilding. And I'm like, oh, well then outside of Fuad, now that he's retired, Regan is the best because he's made the most money as a professional bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's done pretty good. He's done pretty good.
Yeah, that's how I see things.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be a great
Pittsburgh show is going to be good though.
Nasty because isn't Martin doing those shows too?
I think so. Yeah.
And here's I know Nick Martin, Hollingshead too. Bonac. There's some other guys that I think are going.
There's Nick, and Bonac is looking bigger. I saw him early last season, and I almost felt like, oh man, I think he's ready to retire. Like he looked okay. Like he was a great bodybuilder. Still, don't get me wrong, better than I'd ever been in my entire life, but not the same guy he used to be. And then now I feel like seeing him in and I'll see if I can find a picture of him, but in more recent time, he's looked like full as hell, like crazy.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Nick needs a show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
After that disappointment with Yo and all that, he needs a show. So I hope he really has a good prep for this. I see John Thick. Oh, John Thick asks if I like white. What? I don't like white sauces. What about white shakes? I'm totally fine with vanilla shakes. I love them. There we go.
That's fine. Classic.
Okay. Yes. Okay. What's next here?
We had a bunch of stuff. Oh, here's some Bionic. Hold on a second. No, forget it. That's not a Bionic update. I apologize.
You lie.
Yeah, we did have a bunch of stuff though. What else did we have, guys? What else is on our list?
You sent a list. I didn't read it, but I saw you sent one.
I wanted to tell you about that. That was one of the things. I wanted to give you guys a review of these egg white wraps that I ate, but I felt like that's not like the most important thing that we did. You know what I mean? I feel like there's some other things that we could talk about first.
We've got to be able to do more than this.
So I was kind of filling until I could pull up our text and look at that.
Oh, wait, I'm going to look at it here. You
There
said
it is.
But...
So we had the Regan Grimes. Yeah, Nick Walker competing in Pittsburgh Pro. I guess that's really all we had besides our list.
We
of
have no
questions then.
preparation.
We have very little. But have you guys heard of those Egglife egg white wraps?
No. Is this like a normie thing?
I don't know. Miss Olympia eats them. I got a message from Drea. She was like, "You got to get the Southwest ones. Those are good." I don't know if you guys at home.
Where do you get them? Like, is this like
grocery store?
Weird...
Yeah, normal grocery store. And they're kind of expensive. I didn't even look at the price, but one of the people I was talking to on social media was like, "Oh yeah, those things are really expensive." I didn't even look though. They're like $6 for a pack of them, and it literally was like I don't know, 8 maybe. They're real flavorless. They're like nothing but. The way the word Victoria used, she was like, it's like a vessel to put your protein in. And that's literally about it. I didn't know if you guys maybe tried them up there.
No, that sounds like something I would never buy. But I understand the utility and especially the like on the road thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the P28 wraps? Project Bodybuilding just mentioned that.
Oh.
Remember those? They had like bread, and the bread was like 28 grams of protein.
Yeah. What happened to those?
You realize that regular bread is awesome.
The owner went down hard for some things that were not related to bodybuilding at all.
Non P28 related.
Yeah.
It's always funny when a bodybuilding company, like bodybuilding related company, goes down for something criminal.
Yeah,
it's like, oh geez.
I always feel like those types of things aren't really designed for the bodybuilding world, but for people who just are trying to eat better. Because I would just look at it and go, well, a normal tortilla is a carb source, perfect. Now put my protein inside of it and call it a day,
right?
You know? Yeah, because it was just easier. Like when I traveled, I used to always do, like for flights, just do tacos with ground beef, and just the wrap was 20 grams of carbs, 2 of those filled with 5 ounces of ground beef each, and there's a meal, good to go. You know,
Nick's got one for us.
Look at Tina. She's got a whole breakdown for us.
What'd she say?
Heat them at 450 to crispy, then cream cheese and jam. Oh, Ron is out on the cream cheese. I am in on the cream cheese.
I don't do
cream
cheese.
Cream cheese also, Ron?
What's that?
Are you against cream cheese as well?
Cream cheese is icing on carrot cake.
Wait, what? I like that. That I back. When you guys were talking about a vessel, that's all I could think of is like the difference between a muffin and a cupcake. Is just putting frosting on a muffin, and it's a vessel to eat the frosting. So perfect. Same.
What about Arnold predictions?
Yeah, that's what Nick Gunther. Do we want to jump into that today? Are we prepared? I mean, I guess we were.
We are prepared when we do it, so let's just do it now.
It's a good point. I'll pull up the list.
We still have Samson, Lunsford, and Curry. So 3 Olympia winners doing it, right?
Yep. Can we bring up the fact that Sean Ray doesn't think that Chris could possibly help Derek in any way because he's not as good of a bodybuilder?
He said he didn't get in the gym to train him. He's not in there, to train him, so he can't.
I'm sure that Derek Lunsford needs someone in the gym with him because he probably has no idea how to train at this point.
I think with a guy like Lunsford, you just need pictures.
Yeah, I think he's going to do okay in the gym.
He could just send.
I was irritated immediately.
He could just send Chris a back double and a front double twice a week, and I think he'll be fine.
And Chris goes, "You're still awesome. Keep going."
Yeah, keep dieting. Keep dieting.
All right,
okay.
so down to the predict. Did you pull up the whole list here?
Oh, they have like a rolling list. Oh, but you know what's pretty cool? I'm going to tell you right now. Look at this. Check this out. Look at each one of these pictures. Has got a little mutant logo up on the corner there. Every single one of these pictures do.
Yeah, big time sponsor.
Guys that just keep getting better. Akeem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in great shape for a long time now. I think that's going to be to his advantage, right? A lot of people have complained like his lower back wouldn't get tight enough. If Akeem, it's not like he's needs a lot, it's not like you've ever said to yourself like, oh, well, Akeem needs to get a lot bigger. So, man, if he could just stay in shape, that might be to his advantage.
He just keeps getting harder and harder working with Chris.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, De La Rosa's out. I didn't know that. Dane, we need you on the show, dude. Jeez.
We got Samson, Derek, Hollingshead, Andrew Jacked, William Bonack, Brandon Curry. There we go.
Carlos Thomas Jr.
Yes, those pictures of Carlos that are circulating are awesome. Obviously,
So I just talked to him. He's up for coming on. I just need to get back to him. Only thing is he works a day job, so I don't know if he's free to just like hang out with us at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Isn't he like saving humanity at his regular job? Like
he's doing real stuff, important
Does he work
things.
in the medical field?
Yeah, it's something
I can't remember
ridiculous.
what he does. But yeah, that'd be cool. Have Carlos on. His photos look awesome, and obviously, his photos look crazy enough that you could say, "Oh my God, he could win the Arnold."
Yeah,
right.
Like that's how crazy the photos look, right? But the only reason that I don't say stuff like that is just because I know like how bodybuilding works with how things come together on stage. It's like, but he looks incredible.
He is definitely going to be my dark horse, and I say dark horse just because he's not proven yet.
Yeah, like the mass on him. He's getting harder by the week. Every set of photos he posts gets crazier.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see that physique in the lineup. I wonder what he's going to weigh.
I wonder
what he's going to weigh or what he's going to look like he weighs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess.
He looks like
and are they far apart? Yeah.
I remember being told when he was at Nationals, being told that like he was an incredible middleweight too. Like way back in the day, he got absolutely peeled for middleweight, looked great there. And then I remember I was really rooting for Nate Spear. And Nate came through, and I forget who it was that beat him. It was that big black dude, Bundy. Do you know who I'm talking about? Bundy was his name. I don't know what he's doing now. But then I was like, all right, Nate Spear's going to do it. And then Nick Walker came through. And I'm like, all right, Nate's going to do it. And then Carlos Thomas Jr. showed up, and I was just like, oh my God, the dude he didn't look like anybody else on that stage, with those legs.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Carlos's arms are middleweights now.
Yeah, each one.
That's also a different reality.
What do you mean?
To have been a middleweight at any point in my life is just a no.
Yeah.
Like
also to be a great bodybuilder at any point in my life is also a no. So I have nothing in common. So I will say this about the Arnold. Samson seems to be getting better every day for the last 2.5 years.
That's a lot of getting better, man.
Like you just see a photo of him and he's starting to have that look of unbeatable to me. Because they're not posed. You see him standing in a t-shirt and you feel bad for the t-shirt. He put up a video the other day buying a car in a hoodie and it looked like the arms were going to give. And he was just like buying a car.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I would not bet against him currently ever. Like he's just to me, he's finding another level. I think that Samson will beat his Olympia look at the Arnold. And if he does that, there's nothing else to talk about. Then you can talk about place.
Now, I know this one's kind of edited up here. You know, it's black and white, so it's going to always have like more pop to it. But
yeah, other than that, he's totally normal.
Yeah, come on, you know?
Yeah.
The mass.
Yeah, for real.
I know I'm biased, but there's just something to me about Mr. Olympia looking like Mr. Olympia no matter what he's wearing. When you think back to like when we were into bodybuilding, like if you saw Jay in a tank top or in a suit, it was the same thing. You just couldn't explain it. And he's in another level than that, being taller. So
yeah,
I see him winning. My big question is actually Andrew Jack to me needs to make a big move, or I'm going to start feeling like Andrew Jack is Andrew Jacked. Like he's got to make a drastic jump, or I'm going to start to feel like we know what he's bringing every time because it's been pretty consistent. Fantastic, but not at that next level of the top couple.
He can do it. He can do it. What do you guys think? I don't want to like get too into it, but you guys saw Hollingshead has had a little bit of a shift. He's left the gym and he's gone somewhere else to train.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, we don't want to like dig into. I'm not trying to dig into people's personal stuff, but
here's the gossip.
Yeah. It's not about the gossip. It's just about he's locking down to show up at his very best. And I've been watching his videos. He's doing some new YouTube stuff, and I've been putting them on, letting them play. And he's such an easy guy to be a fan of and to root for. And so I just hope that all the obviously he's left the shed and gone to another gym, but he's still got Stefan, and it looks like he's in a good spot. And I hope he has a great prep, because I'm still a huge fan of his physique. And Stefan's a great coach too, especially for a guy like Hollingshead. I think they go really well together. So this will be great.
Yeah, he looks nuts.
Have you guys ever seen get online with James when he's doing his he'll play his video games and he'll stream it?
Yeah, a live YouTube stream came up the other day when I was sitting at home eating. So I clicked it.
Yeah.
And there was I think it would just started. So there's like 20 people watching him play.
Yeah.
And I typed a few things, and he's like, "Big Rod, how's it going?" And he's like just getting going on his game.
Yeah. I've done that too, man. I'll leave it up and just have it up in the corner of my screen and just listen to him talking. I'll comment once in a while, and talk to him a little bit while I'm working. It's pretty cool, man. He's got like a dedicated little side crew of people that are into bodybuilding, but now they're also like gamers and stuff. It's almost made me think like, man, I want to go get a system, but I wouldn't have the time,
Dude, I've talked to James. I've talked to James about gaming enough times that I feel bad for bugging him now, because I've asked him like several times, and then I try to think I can help by explaining, and I realize I'm just bothering him. I'm like, hey, so I used to play these types of games.
Yeah.
So he just told me, he said, listen, I think you would really love Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah.
It's not a brand new game, but it's an awesome game. It's my favorite game of all time. I think you would love it. You should it's not too crazy complicated. Obviously games get more complicated. I think number 4 is from 2010 or something. So it's an older game, and he's like, you'll love it. And then, so I said, all I want to do is play a bit of football, a bit of hockey, and then have a really good game that I'm into,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
now that you're retired,
he's for the original.
Now that I'm retired.
Yeah.
Now that I'm really retired. Yeah. You mean NHL 93 for the Genesis? The best hockey game of all time? Yeah. Yzerman to Fedorov. Yeah. Yeah.
All I do is I'll send James a picture of a gun once in a while and say, hey, can you name this one? Do you know which one this is? And he'll be like, oh, yeah, that's an MP5. I use that for this, this, and this,
That's classic.
So Brandon Curry,
Yeah,
what's going on with Curry right now? How I haven't even. I'm going to look him up. I haven't even looked him up, but I know
Isn't he training from home? Isn't that the thing? He's
Yep.
home. He's not overseas.
Yep.
And he's got a new coach, I think. I can't remember.
Yep. Justin is helping him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It doesn't have.
Yeah, Justin Harris. Maybe we
That's
should ask
good.
our listeners. You guys tell us what's going on with Brandon. You know what I'm saying? They tell us. Yeah.
Dane, what's
I'm
going on
glad.
here?
I'm glad Justin Harris is helping him because that's like a no bullshit guy, kind of a little bit old school, a little bit like got that hardcore vibe, and maybe that's what Brandon.
What's up, guys? I lost Ron and Dusty. Holy crap. I'm not sure what happened there. Thank you. F in the chat. I'll wait for the guys to come back. But you tell me what's going on with Brandon. Brandon posted full posing update this week. Thank God you're back. Looks like we lost our signal for a minute there.
Okay, I thought that was me, so I...
We're good, but we didn't lose the stream either. And they're giving us updates on Brandon, too. I guess Brandon posted a full posing update. That might have been this video here.
I lost all my comments.
Oh, I've got them all still.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Because I lost him.
Crap.
All right.
Oh yeah, I saw the gray beard. Yeah. He's looking good.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to see if I can pull this video up. It froze up on me last time. So we got a little posing here. No, this isn't it. Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, legs are looking good, and that's always been the critique of him, right?
Not mine, but yes, other people. I have no critique about Brandon Curry that's negative at all. But
those are awesome. He's doing one-legged hyperextensions. Those are super underrated.
I never did those in my life, but his hams are looking nutty.
Oh, I'm glad his glutes are in like that. That's
yeah. That'd be like 5-6 weeks out with the glutes like that. That's a good sign.
Oh, he says Brandon is training at Carbon Culture in Murfreesboro, a Jimmy co-owns. Justin's coaching him. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's wild.
Good.
So who else do we talk about here? We had Akeem, a little bit about him. Carlos Thomas Jr. Just Justin Rodriguez. Is he making it?
That'd be great to see. Great to see him. I haven't seen him for a while because he took a break, didn't he? Or was he at the O?
I feel like he's always needed a break. Don't be smart about that.
Yeah, wasn't that?
We're doing that soon. I saw it.
Yeah.
I'm touching that later.
Yeah. I can't help it but get that.
Yeah. Let's see. Though the only real change is it's good to see Patrick Moore back with Chris. That seems to be that was a better situation that they had. We're skipping that drama as well, just talking about him as a bodybuilder.
Can we? I don't know if I can root for him. I will say that I like his physique a lot, and I've always wanted him to do good. But I don't know if I can root for him anymore. Just my personal take. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what I feel like the only problem is with these lineups is as good as he is, this lineup is just absurd. I mean,
yeah.
Look, if you look at that list, it's hard to believe that. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Clarida yet.
No, I know. We didn't really start at the top. We sort of started at Samson.
Did you expect anything different, though?
Yeah. So I predict. I know this is a crazy lineup, but I think it's very possible Clarida's in the top 5.
Oh yeah,
of this lineup. And I would not be surprised at all if he's first call out. So we will see what happens. We're terrible. I'm terrible for like this stuff. I just think all these guys are awesome. There's 3 Mr. Olympias in the show. Like, what a crazy Arnold. This would be a fantastic Arnold. If you look at it technically, when's the last time we had 3 Mr. Olympias in the Arnold? I'm just wondering. I don't remember.
Have we ever had 3?
Right. That's the question.
I don't think so.
So we will figure out. Oh, now everyone's confused.
What's that?
Oh, everyone's saying, why can't you root for him anymore?
Oh,
yeah.
I'll say it. I don't know if it's true. All right. So this is what you call gossip. This is literally gossip. Don't pass it on as fact.
What's gossip, Scott?
But the word on the street was that so he owed the gym owner money. He didn't pay the gym owner. They got in a fight. Yes, he ended up clocking the gym owner. I think he's a trained boxer, so what else would you expect from this dude who is literally a jacked pro who was formerly a boxer? Of course he's going to win a street fight. Don't even get in a street fight like that situation. But then when the police came, he ratted on the gym owner for selling gear. So I don't know. That's what I heard. At least I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that was the first rage. That's why I was like, we'll see what the actuals are. But yeah, when I heard that side, that possibility, that was not my favorite either. So
yeah,
you know, that's just the way I see things, and it shouldn't be illegal in the first place. Well, that's a good point, Dane. 3 O's and 3 Arnold Classic champs.
Yeah,
and a 212 champ. Yeah, that's a lot.
John De La Rosa, we didn't really mention him too much.
He's out.
He's out. Okay.
You can technically say that's the best Arnold lineup ever with just the credentials.
And last but not least, Clarida, who you guys just briefly mentioned. So there's that.
Yeah. Oh, we're having people saying that apparently there was an interview on RX Muscle explaining the situation better, and that wasn't true. So
is that what the gym owner said, or is that what Patrick Moore said?
That's what Patrick said. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
what I want you guys to know is that my mom says I've never done anything wrong.
Right.
So
right.
Everyone knows that there is 3 sides to every story. My advice to everyone is at our age is that we should avoid getting in fist fights.
Right.
That's
once you own stuff, you cannot fight anymore because then you're suable.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. It's a real bad scene. Yeah.
You take the loss. If somebody owed me money, I would just take the loss and be like, all right, see ya. You know.
Yeah. Especially
it's not like let's stop in the alley, Ron.
Yeah, and also most of the people who deserve it don't have anything to sue for, so they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen lots of good guys tune somebody up that really needed it, and they wind up getting, even if the charges get dropped, they get civilly sued and fucking, $100,000 later. It's like that dude didn't need a slap that bad.
I'm thinking of Mr. In Between now. His whole Mr. In Between, his whole philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, well, he deserved it. It's okay.
So do you think that you're morally right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he deserved it. Of course.
I'm not saying I don't say it. Yeah, I'm not saying people don't deserve it sometimes. They do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. But what I also want to say is, Dusty, we have to plan our Arnold, because it looks like I'm going to be shooting some Mutant on Emissions that week.
Yes.
And then kind of rolling into town a little early. So I should have all day Thursday where you and I and Scott, if you guys are there yet, we could gather, some content before the madness starts. So that would be fun.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Idea.
So that's what I'm trying to line up, is that I get my Mutant on Emissions filmed and I get to Columbus on Wednesday night. And then I'm like breathing space for the weekend.
We wanted to train on Thursday. What gym did we go to last time, Scott?
We went to Mike Davies' gym.
I
forget the name of it at this minute. They call it the Midwest Mecca.
It was pretty far out, but it was good. It was great old equipment.
Metro Fitness, right. Worthington.
So we want to go back to that again. That's what I want. Okay. I want to get back there. I have a client that's going to come and play as well, so that'll be fun. We'll get that in.
What's nice about that? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to say I want to go to the range, but we'll see.
I was going to tell Ron, the nice thing about Mike Davies' gym is it's like 15 minutes away. And so when you get 15 minutes away from downtown or 10 minutes away from downtown, it's like normal life. There isn't like crowded and waiting in line.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're just going to a gym at 6:00 in the evening on a Thursday. It's nothing really going on,
Yeah. It's not like the 1-2 blocks from the hotel.
Right. You got to fight for the 15-pound dumbbells, and that's all you get.
Yeah. That's those gyms get so crazy. The ones that are the local walk,
Oh yeah, That's why we don't train outside of Thursday that weekend. I never do. Never. Bum, 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 bum.
Thanks, James, for the super chat. James sent us $5.
Oh, geez.
Appreciate you, man.
James. Oh, damn. Thanks, James.
So, did we have any other the questions that we did not that fell off there, Scott? That you had there?
So
I had a bunch.
Okay.
We were supposed to ask you about something, and now it's gone, and I wanted to bring it up right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's lovely.
Yes. I heard in this week we lost a legendary filmmaker, David Lynch.
Yes.
So David Lynch died this week, or last week, I guess. And some of you probably don't know who David Lynch is, but he made a bunch of really weird, crazy stuff. He did Twin Peaks, which was a wacky TV show.
Twin Peaks changed television. It really did.
Twin Peaks changed television, yeah. And he did Mulholland Drive, which is a real mind bender of a movie, like real screwed up type of thing where you watch it and you don't really know what's going on until the end. And he was real famous for his movie making style and a bunch of weird stuff that he did that I liked. What else did he do? I'm thinking of another movie he did. Oh, he did the original Dune, which was like
I never
back in like
watched
the
that
80s.
One.
Yeah, it wasn't that great, but it was like that was David Lynch's like interpretation, so it was weird. Oh yeah, and he did. I just pulled up his list. 2 more movies from the 80s. Blue Velvet with Dennis Hopper. I saw that when I was a teenager, and I was just like shocked at how psycho. Like Dennis Hopper's character was such a psycho.
Yeah.
And Isabella Rossellini, who at the time was like in her late 30s or 40s maybe.
And it resurrected her career, that movie.
Oh, yeah. She was beautiful in that movie, too. And I was like a young teenager, so you like see the beautiful older woman and you're like, you know, losing my mind.
I still do
and
that.
Then, yeah. And then 1997, he did The Lost Highway, which is really... like kind of like Mulholland Drive, like a mind-bending, warping movie. You don't really know what's going on. You got to sit. You got to just try to let it take you for the ride. But they're worth watching. They're really good.
And the way I see it was Lost Highway came back again as Mulholland Drive. I almost feel like it was a more complete vision of the idea. Is like he just like it wasn't quite there yet, and he did it again, but he did it better. Mulholland Drive was such a weird movie, man.
So you got to hang out with him? What's the story here?
Yeah, so I thought, first of all, Victoria and I have been together for like 6 years now, and I didn't realize, I didn't realize I still had a story left to tell her. Like I thought she's heard them all,
Right.
And then I'll tell the same story again sometimes, and I know that she's heard it. But I wanted to tell the story, and she's the person there who will listen to me talk, So that's the way it is. And the other night, we just mentioned David Lynch as I was going to bed. And I was like, yeah, when I went to that workshop with him, in Iowa, out in the middle of nowhere. And we were like just getting in bed, getting ready to go to turn off the lights. And she's like, what? You did what? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, it was like back 2005.
You just woke her up.
I was like, yeah, back 2005. It was at this place called the Maharishi School of Management. It was basically a cult, literally in the middle of nowhere. This little town called Fairfield, Iowa, like way out in the corn, far drive. Like it was a long drive to get there. And it was like a 2-day workshop. And the people it was the most David Lynch experience, like the whole thing. It was about creativity and meditation. But what it really turned out to be was like this, it was like a big sales pitch to join a cult. The whole thing, like we stayed with these people for like 3 days, and it was all about like transcendental meditation at the Maharishi School of Management in Fairfield, Iowa. They called it like the island in the sea or something. I can't remember the name of this place. They referred to it as like the island in the sea, something like that. But yeah, everybody wore orange clothes, and I think they all had their heads shaved. They made all the food. They prepared all the food. They prepared food for us for all our meals, and it was all food that they had made themselves, growing themselves. It was all vegetarian. And David Lynch was there to talk about creativity and transcendental meditation. But the thing is like when he talked about meditation, you never really learned anything. You just kind of got the pitch, and that you had to spend $1,200 more to actually learn about the meditation. And the Maharishi was like televised in. He like did a meeting with us and stuff from India, like live stream type thing. And Donovan, Donovan the musician, he was there. And he played music the last night for us because he's into transcendental meditation as well. The Beatles were all into it. So, but yeah, I got to hang out with David Lynch, and everybody was scared to talk to him. But at one point when he was done talking, it was like we were in between things. I just was like, fuck it. I paid money to get out here. There was initially only going to be like 12 people that were going to be allowed in the seminar. But then after I got in, and I went with two friends, and they, so the three of us got in. We filled it up quick, and then they opened it to like 50. So there's like 50 people, and everybody just kind of like kept a distance from David Lynch. But I was like, fuck it, nobody's talking to him, and he's just sitting there. So I just walked up and was like, hey, David Lynch, my name's Scott McNally. I just wanted to say thank you. You've really been a huge, which he has. He was a huge inspiration to me as an artist. Like in all my photography, everything he
his
did.
Stuff's all different.
With filmmaking, there were so many things, like dream sequences have been done different ever since. The way storytelling, a lot of it's changed. So anyway, that was my David Lynch story. I got to hang out with him for a few days. It was the weirdest, most David Lynch situation you could imagine, honestly.
Surrounded by people that are like David Lynch characters.
Yeah, they all were, dude. They all were. It was crazy. And they wanted to join their cult.
How was it in the cult once you gave him the $1,200?
I didn't have $1,200 to give. Yeah, I didn't have $1,200 to give. They were barking up the wrong tree there.
I've always wanted to know how to start a cult, and now I know. That's good.
Yeah, you got to get David Lynch involved or somebody of that caliber.
I see Tanya Miller here. Tanya tells us transcendental meditation is a whole celebrity cult. They all randomly bring it up.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
That's awesome.
So
it is. You got to pay to get involved. I read about it as a kid too, and even in the books, you didn't really learn about it. You learned the benefits of it. It was like all an infomercial.
It sounds like Scientology, and then it's like not till like the 20th meeting and $100,000 later they tell you that it's another $100,000.
Right.
Yeah. I love those things. I had that with like a guy that was a client of mine. He did a multi-level marketing thing. Where he was like, hey, will you meet with me? I'm like, screw it. Like, this guy's giving me thousands of dollars. We'll sit down. So he runs through this whole thing. And by the end of it, I go, you haven't told me what I get for the $20,000. He's like, no, but then you'll be able to sell it. And I'm like, but you haven't told me what it is. And he couldn't even answer. It was just the opportunity to screw more people out of $20,000 one at a time.
Right.
And I'm like, do it to other people,
Do people actually give you this money when you've literally spent an hour of my time and not told me anything other than I can go on a trip and trick other people out of their money? I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
I like how you used to at least be old school high effort. Now you can just use Instagram. I saw a great influencer reel the other day. It was how to make $20,000 a month, and it was make a bunch of reels telling everyone that you make $20,000 a month, and then tell them that you can help them make $20,000 a month, and post from places like this, and it's like a fancy restaurant or in front of a helicopter or at a car lot or like, and it was saying like the real cost involved with getting that shot was like $5 to get into the park, and no money to get onto the lot, and I tipped the guy $20 to let me hold the keys to the Lamborghini, and like just all these like little things you can do. And then it says, and then hopefully within a year you're making $20,000 a month. But from the start, you portray that you are. Yeah. So
that's Internet 101, isn't it?
Yeah. Just fake it till you make it.
I've learned so much.
That's amazing.
Right now.
There are so many funny comments too. Scott, you're lucky to be alive. So did you join? There's a lot of really good ones.
He wanted to, but he didn't have the $1,200.
Yeah, I forgot all about that though. Like, and to retell that story, I visited a cult in the middle of Iowa. to meet David Lynch and spend a couple days.
That's a
with
great
him.
story.
It was weird. And you know Donovan, Ron? Do you know that his music? He did that Hurdy Gurdy Man song, and he had a lot of delay, on the pedals and stuff when he played it for us that night.
I feel like if you play that story in reverse, the fact that this was a cult situation seems very obvious. Meet us in the cornfield in Iowa.
Yeah.
That's really where it all was like, oh, it's a cult for me.
You know what I realized? I realized something the other day, and this is just sort of cult related, but it was just kind of a star power thing. We watched a limited series that had Nicole Kidman in it. It was called The Perfect Couple. It's kind of like a murder mystery type of, just a easily digestible little 6-episode show.
Yeah.
And it had Nicole Kidman in it, and she was great. Just a reminder of how great Nicole Kidman was. She's just an amazing actress. And then I just saw the trailer to her new erotic thriller that I didn't realize was out, called Baby Girl.
Huh.
And she plays like a corporate executive who gets seduced by her young intern. And it looks like it's rated R. They're calling it the return of the erotic thriller, because the erotic thriller has apparently been dead for a while. We used to get stuff like Basic Instinct, Eyes Wide Shut, right? The erotic thriller. And they've just they just sort of were saying they've been dead for a while. And now Nicole Kidman's going to win an Oscar for her new erotic thriller. Anyways, I'm watching the trailer and it looks very enticing. Like, she looks great in it. And I'm thinking to myself, Nicole Kidman, to me, is a super, super duper star above almost everybody else. Oh, there's Lee Priest. I got my card back.
He's a pro.
It's Lee, only $400 US a year to keep that card.
I think he was saying he joined. He said, I joined. I got my card. I'm back.
I'm back. Yeah,
meaning, I think I joined as in everybody was talking about a cult. I have a feeling maybe he was going in that direction.
He just might have.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm thinking about Nicole Kidman, and she has a double whammy of fame. She has Oscar winner fame, and then she has that special, elusive, tiny little club of people who actually know Tom Cruise.
True.
Because that, to me, is one of the wildest Hollywood things, is that whole Scientology connection with those wackos. And the fact that she knows. She's not talking. She signed an NDA or something. I'm sure she did. They split up enough money and stuff that they're fine. But she fucking knows. I would love to get her a couple wines in, blabbering about what actually goes on. I just find it fascinating. I love that shit.
I love that. Steve said, this is the longest ad for Nicole Kidman of all time.
She deserves it.
She was great in Eyes Wide Shut. She was great in Eyes Wide Shut. That movie was awesome. I love that.
Hey, she's timeless and ageless. We can talk about her as long as we want.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't mind letting people know who the best stars are.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
Go.
Yeah, I'm glad that Lee is a part of the club again.
Yeah.
I want to see, because if I just see the name Lee Priest, I'm like, who the fuck's that?
Yeah, no.
Without the IFBB?
Of course.
Who?
I need to see Lee Priest IFBB Pro, and I'm like,
that Lee Priest.
Lee Priest.
Yeah. Otherwise,
I didn't know who you were talking about. Yeah,
no
so it's important.
Yeah.
It's very important. I see some.
Congrats, Lee.
Congrats, Lee.
Fantastic.
Johnny Duval, do you know him?
Oh yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, he was with Mutant. Whatever happened to him? He seemed like he was so young and had a lot of potential.
Amazing bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I think he's smart enough to, go make money and do whatever he was doing. I know he had a kid and all that. So, congrats. He's a dad and everything. I think he's still training. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in ages, but he's a good guy, man. He was a very, very hard training bodybuilder. very hard training, super aggressive. I remember seeing him squat 7 plates at Gold's Gym here in Vancouver when he was out. It was like the wildest. You know when you see somebody do a single and you know that like a little bit of their soul left their body and there's no way they could do it again. Like even if they tried it the following week, they might not get it. Like they really peaked and they did everything they could to get that. Yeah, he did a 700 pound. It was 7.5 plates.
Really?
7.5 plates he squatted at Gold's Gym. And then afterwards, he had lower back problems for like a year.
Oh, get out.
It was one of those things. He's like, I think I fucked myself. And it was like a year of him having problems after that. But he got it. Like he squatted it. He didn't get hurt doing it. But then afterwards, I remember he was sitting on the bench after he squatted it and he couldn't stop shaking. Like his whole body was just like, it's like he was like shivering. He was like, yeah. And they were like, what's wrong? And he's like, I don't know. My nervous system's fucked. He was just like, it was like some crazy, like adrenaline neural freak out thing. Cause like he was out of his mind when he got under that bar.
Yeah.
Like he got himself to a point where I was like, this guy's going to squat or he's going to squat or die. And he got it. And then he was messed up. He couldn't finish the video. They got it on video and he couldn't finish the workout and he was like done shooting. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just, you know, memory I have of him training like an animal.
So what are we going to get? So Lee Priest is up at this hour, meaning
we got to get you. We got to get him on now that he's a pro.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want him before.
Lee Priest, my way. It's fucking basic.
I want to do a setup with Lee. One of my good friends is a non-bodybuilder, and he's a huge Lee Priest fan, and he always sends us little clips of Lee like responding to people. So like, and he'll always say like Lee doesn't give a shit because a guy will say like, I'd like to get a belt for my brother that's handicapped, and Lee will go, you should buy him one. And then, or then someone's like, I'd like to catch a workout with you sometime, and Lee's like, I don't know why anyone would think I would want to train with somebody I don't even know. His response I love. So he'll send me these little clips. He's like, I love Lee so much.
That's funny because Lee, even back when when Lee was like competing at the O, he was one of the guys that had fans outside of bodybuilding. Like, you know, I remember back in the early days, people go, you're a bodybuilder? Oh yeah, I like that Lee Priest guy. Like he was one of the very, very few names that had enough escape velocity to get out of bodybuilding into like regular culture without the internet. Yeah. You know, but that's just how it's always been, you know. It's funny.
My responses are a gift. He says.
It's a gift I have.
Just the blatant truths.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Lee and JP are the two that do that the best. They'll just like lay the answer right back to them. I'm like, refreshing. It's good to see.
He was recording with Jeff Roberts on the channel for a while, and I don't know whatever happened with that, but I remember like setting it up. Like I'd sit in the background and record it, and I had to go to my parents' house or something because my internet was down. And I just remember, I don't think Lee knew I was messing with him because Lee doesn't know me, but I expect him to like give everybody shit and give me shit. And you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, hey, Lee, how's it going? I was like, how do you, and I turned the camera and I was like, what do you think of these plates? My mom had these like old collectible plates on the wall. And I was like, check those out, man. I was like, you see the nice collectible plates? And I just like turned the camera back.
He's like, I don't give a fuck about your plates.
I thought you were going to tell me he went off because he knew a lot about them. He was like,
no, he didn't know anything about him. He just looked at me really weird, kind of. I was like, oh, okay.
Turns out he's an expert
Scotty.
He's an expert on fine china.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, look at Dane's comment right there. That's fantastic.
Should sponsor Lee. Make them do a podcast together.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
An immediate classic.
Yeah, podcast together would be great. Well, we got to have Lee on. Are we going to have Lee on or what?
Lee, can we have you on now that you're a pro?
Do we have to be afraid? Are you going to ruin our show, Lee, and make Scott edit it a million times? I think that's why Scott's
just let
like,
it go.
I don't know.
We just let it go. We'll let it go. Whatever
just let
happens,
that one
happens.
episode be completely demonetized. Yeah.
Yes, they were very beautiful periwinkle china.
I'll tell my mom that you appreciated the plates next time I speak.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's I like that. I like that. Well, we got Jay Cutler watching the show. We got Lee Priest watching the show.
Yeah.
We're doing something right.
Yes.
Jay's not a pro anymore, though, so does it matter?
He's
Well, he hasn't
grandfathered
paid
in.
his. He might be grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Maybe that Olympia.
You got to make Jay pay his $400 and fill out his form.
He's gonna need a loan.
No.
I can't believe we actually did an actual breakdown for the Arnold today. Was that acceptable?
Doesn't count. I don't think it counts. I don't think it's enough.
I think we should do a whole other show where we do it poorly again. I think we just leave it as it was.
We should ask our friend Scott Weston if that was enough of a breakdown to count as a breakdown, because we can't be telling people.
He just liked the fact that we were asking them for
who's
in the show.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a question to ask the people.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we got to have him on then. I'm going to Cabo on Thursday. So I just said, any recommendations from our listeners who are familiar with Cabo, what they like about Cabo, and just looking for any little tips. And, I've been to Mexico a bunch of times, so nothing's new or whatever. But Cabo's new to me. Never been there.
Scott
Weston all I know is it doesn't count. Okay, good. All I want to, I want to go to Sammy Hagar's bar. I'm going to go to Cabo Wabo and just check it out. But other than that, I don't really have any plans.
Like, what's the best sandwich shop? Ron needs to know.
Yeah, I don't know much about Cabo. I don't know.
I don't plan on doing much.
Yeah, that was one of my honeymoons, Cabo. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, what do you do, Dusty? You're the pro then. You know more than either of us. You've been there.
Well, that was the first marriage. That was like literally a lifetime ago. So I don't even remember. But we did go out on like a big pirate ship, like one of the actual sail ships, and got lucky. And there was a dolphin going all around us, like probably 100 of them. It was actually pretty.
Oh, that's amazing! Okay.
Really?
Eat at Squid Row. Okay.
Squid Row. There we go. Sea fishing. I would like to see Ron sea fishing.
Yeah,
I think that would be some nice content.
I feel like
Ron doing some deep fish. Oh yeah.
Want to watch me, my giant deep sea fishing rod fighting something for like 5 hours straight?
Yeah.
Right?
That'd be
Is
perfect.
that what you want?
You could make a mutant ad out of that, like supplements and stuff.
You could.
5 hours in. If it wasn't for my mind fuck, then I wouldn't be able to
I think
reel in
that
this
extra
fish.
scoop of gear I had kept me going. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, something like that.
A new style of marketing.
Hit up Jim. There's a whole demographic of people out there that we're missing.
Probably get him to write it off too. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I was thinking for when we do have Lee Priest on, I have a list of questions about Superman that I want to ask him. So
really,
that's it. Yeah. Because how he's always a Superman guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of questions about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely have a list.
So Ron, while we were in Vegas, we went and saw the Mentalist again. The guy that was with.
Oh, he went and saw the same guy?
Yeah, but we saw him solo. So he had his own show for an hour and a half.
What was his name again?
Unbelievable. That guy was so good. Once he was like, by the end of the show,
about that.
Your mind is completely broken. And what was his? I'm pulling up his name because Nikki, of course, posted it because God knows I'm not going to remember any of it. But Colin Cloud. So we went and saw him. It's a small show. It's his first Vegas one that's like solo. There was only 130 people in the room, and as luck would have it, Nikki gets us tickets that are literally right on top of the stage. I'm like, oh, we are so screwed. So we were involved in that show very quickly.
Okay.
Very
we immediately picked you out of the crowd.
I was like, really? I looked at her, and she's like, we're fucked. And we were.
Yeah.
But,
what happened?
Whose fault is it? What were you wearing and what was Nikki wearing? I have a feeling
I'm not even in the room is all you have to know.
Yeah.
Me being there means nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so
yes,
Nikki got picked on. Nikki got you guys picked on.
Yeah. So, but it was anybody who's going to go to Vegas, go see that show. It's not that expensive. And he was amazing. And I imagine in a year or so, those tickets will be very expensive and they'll be at a different hotel. because he was
That
Ron
guy.
remembers.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, a lot of questions I have when I go see someone like that. Because like I'm a pretty logic-based, rational thinker type of guy. Like if something amazing happens in front of me, I'm like, okay, well, there was this and that, and I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
that. I'm not a pan. Oh my god, it's magic. I'm like not that type of guy.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy that like, what's the law of numbers that's occurring here? What little trick is being exploited here? What weakness in our ability to notice things is being exploited by these you know what I mean? Like, what clues did we give this guy without us realizing? Like, I'm thinking like that.
Yeah.
Super critical, and I got nothing.
So the best portion, Ron, of this was the very end. He had asked somebody really early on a question to
they do that.
come up with like a famous person that we would all know. And at the very end, he guessed the guy, and he was wrong, and he was wrong again. And he goes, and the guy finally goes, the guy I had said was Superman. And he goes, I missed it. And that right as the show ends, he goes, one more thing. And he takes his shirt and opens it up, and he's wearing a Superman shirt already. What I've figured out I'll say figured out, but I think what it is he gets you to think of something.
Yeah.
Like you didn't think of Superman yourself. He made you think of Superman so he could pull it out later, because having seen him once, I went in like, I'm focused.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
No.
When he's guessing a lady's first dog name,
yeah,
I'm like, and you're watching her whole family fall apart when he gets it right, because you realize like their minds are blown as well. I
think some
scary.
of that is like, because I saw one of those guys on television where they had one of those like Instagram houses, not where it's like a building that you can go into and take your own social media pictures, and like, there's all sorts of like props and sets basically. And he had a conversation with 3 like super high level influencers. And then he said, I'm going to turn you guys loose, do whatever pictures you want, be yourselves, be unique, be genuine. And they literally all took the exact same picture, holding the exact same prop in the exact same room, doing the exact same thing because of the conversations they had previously. And he was like, listen, they do this to you guys on media, television, all the time. Like, this is what's happening to you, whether you realize it or not. It's like,
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
There's that stuff with the Mentalist, and then there was the card trick guy, and a lot of that illusion card trick stuff. A lot of those tricks have to do with like certain laws of numbers, and I'm not the math guy, but I had a card trick explained to me one time. A guy broke it down and showed me why it works. The thing about the reason it blew my mind is because it was a foolproof mathematical issue. Like, if no matter what, you're going to do these 10 steps, and the card is always going to come up or whatever it was. And I still was like, but how does it work every time? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Yeah. Like, remember, Dusty, we go to this guy and he's like, okay, underneath your seat, you'll find some cards. And we all reach under our seat and we pull out this little deck of cards. It's like not a full deck. It's like, how many cards was it? Wasn't it like?
No, that one they gave us the full deck, but he had us pulling cards out throughout.
Oh,
remember?
Wow. Yeah.
So everyone in the audience had a full deck of cards, and he said like, all right, go about 20 deep, pull one out, then shift them around, do this, do that. And by the end of the show, he says, okay, I think I can guess what that guy's card is. So he says, wait, I think his is an 8 of clubs, but I think what would be better is if everyone checked their card, and every single person in the audience had pulled the exact same card.
Yeah, it made no sense.
Like it was like it couldn't be, and it was. I mean, I'm looking at Ron and our whole group and the whole place, and I'm thinking, okay, it doesn't. How did you get 350 people to pull an 8 of clubs?
Yeah,
in the exact same way.
Wow. And there's another one where you get like 6 cards under your seat or whatever, 8 cards under your seat, and everyone takes one card and sets it aside, and then they fold the rest and tear them and do this and do that. And then at the end, they throw them up in the air. And then he's like, hey, everybody hold up your card that you put aside before we did any of this. And everyone had the same freaking card. Like, just, you know, that sort of shit blows my mind. So,
I kept that deck just because it was weird.
Yeah.
What's he saying here?
We had a couple people asking about gear stuff.
Yeah,
I guess the people they demand it, so I got to bring the gear stuff up.
That's fine.
I wanted the group to talk about the new school high DHTs, low test approach, even in off season. Thoughts, options on health / results, well-being versus test is best.
I think two things. First off, I think that some of this has to do with people wanting to look really good all the time.
Yeah.
They, you know, like, you know, we joked about this when Fuad was on. You know, we used to run, you know, test and D-ball, and we wouldn't care about water. Like, we would just go, well, yeah, who cares? Like, it's just off season. Like, who cares about water? Like, we wouldn't care at all.
Yeah.
Like, you'd see your buddy and his face would be a little blown up, and you'd be like, I am running some D-ball. You know, like, no one cared. But now there's a lot of pressure for guys to look a certain way, or more so a certain way. So I think that's why guys aren't using, like, that stuff's not as popular with a lot of people now. And the DHTs come into play because everyone thinks, oh, if you run DHTs, I'll, you know, help control my estrogen. I won't hold any water. I'll look better. You know, that sort of stuff comes into it. But also too, like, from my experience with me and from everything I've been through and all the people I've helped, you got to watch your blood work with DHTs. They're not the lowest side effect drugs. Mm-hmm. And if you're running DHTs all year, I think I would wind up with really hooped cholesterol, which isn't great. You don't want a 0.6 HDL and, you know, like all that sort of stuff. And I just hope that guys that are running DHTs, as a majority of their cycle like that, they're, you know, either genetically gifted for that marker or they're watching their blood work, because it's, you know, that's, I think, what's going on.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that most of the stuff, you know, speaking of having Lee on the show, I just think the amount of thought that goes into all of this is way more than need be. How do you feel? Do you feel good in the gym? Do you feel strong? Is your sleep good? Are you able to eat because you haven't thrown everything off so bad? Those are your primary sources of if things are going well. So many people, I hate that the game has changed to the point where it's so worried about what you look like now. I think it should be more of a long-term process of, where's my health? Can I put on as much muscle as possible with the limit? When I think of side effects, I'm not really thinking the way that guys do now. I'm thinking of blood work. When I pull my blood, which is going to be at the very end of this cycle fresh, so I see how bad it is it really bad or is it pretty good? And I think that most people nowadays are more concerned with what they look like on Instagram and less concerned about what that blood work looks like, if they even bother to get it checked.
Yeah, and the arguing about, like, there's a couple guys at my gym the other day just like chatting away about Masteron versus Primo, because there's been a bunch of Instagram videos like Masteron versus Primo, which is right for you, and people make these claims. Like, I don't like crazy claims, you know. And the one guy's like, yeah, when I was on Masteron, you know, I felt this way and this way. And then when I was on Primo, I felt this way and this way. And the other guy's like, yeah, but you're also running various test esters and GH, and you were getting ready for a show on the one. So like, how can you then say that that's the Primo and the Masteron making all these like large differences in how you felt and your energy levels? Like, people just, they make broad sweeping general statements that are just ridiculous to me. I'm like, you know, when people say all this stuff about, oh, that drug does this to me, I'm like, really? Does it really?
Yeah.
Like, you know, are you sure? Like, is that what actually happened to you? Or were you like tired from prep, or were you on 4 other things? Or so that always comes into it. Like I said, we used to just have the dilemma of what's the realist, like Masteron versus Primo, and the answer to the question would be, which is real? Like, just take the best one, take the pharmacy amp one, you know?
Yeah. And which does better for you, you know, like maybe you get better results from one over the other. You know, I ran the last cycle. I really liked the way I looked. I didn't feel like I looked as hard on Primo, so I'll use Mass this again. You know, I mean, that would make sense to me too.
That would make sense, and that would be as deep and as intellectual as you should be able to get about it, because you don't have enough evidence to like say much more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know.
I will say this. I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this on Drugs and Stuff a ton, the like using Primo as your AI, because that's really one of the big things. There was, back,
they can get away with nothing else. Yeah.
2010, 2005, everybody was like, you got to use Arimidex. Everybody was taking a ton of it. And I'll be honest, my second test cycle, so I ran D-ball only 15 milligrams and blew up for my first cycle. Then I ran test only. Then I ran test with Arimidex. And when I ran that Arimidex, I kept my estrogen too low, and I know I limited some of my progress. Anyway, back then, Arimidex was such a highly used thing, and there's been a lot of like bite backs or clap back toward that, where people then started saying, well, no, maybe we shouldn't be using all these AIs. We're seeing that cholesterol issues are worse. We're seeing that there's a lot of issues with using an AI. And part of that, though, is that we're also seeing there's a lot of issues with cholesterol with low estrogen, period,
Period.
But what people have kind of conveyed that into or translated that into is, well, then let's not use an AI. We don't want to use an AI, but we have to control estrogen somehow. Why don't I control my 500 tests estrogen with 500 Primo? So now you're on a gram, and I think that sometimes people don't look at that factor. Now you're using a gram to have a quote unquote safer cycle. Primo is a compound as well. It's its own thing. So I think that there's some of that goes into that as well. Like people that are afraid of AIs now. I don't think that an AI is a bad thing, but it's all about, using it in balance. That'd be my thought.
We got a super chat. You got to make sure you grab there.
Yeah. Medieval engineer. Who's that?
Somebody who gives $20. That's more than one cup.
Thank you.
That's 3 cups of coffee.
Fat bulk is better than slow lean bulking. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. There you go.
If you get hit by a bus, the bigger you are, the more cushion
you're more
you
likely
have
to survive.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. The more fat on you, bring on the bus.
Yeah. You know what's funny is speaking of that, so when I had the stores, I used to have this kid that came in all the time, and he bought all the supplements and, spending a ton of money. And I told him one day, I said, dude, you know what you need to worry about is eating. You need to be eating more food. Like, I want you to start putting some of this money into food. And next thing I know, when he would come into the store, he would be eating food coming in to shop. He was just eating all the time. And I said, I think this kid has got something wrong with him. So I'm going to go ahead and make him a training partner. And he was an awesome training partner. And now he is a giant YouTube star, Ryan Humiston.
Nice.
And he does a ton of great YouTube stuff now. But he was my partner for years. And that was how we met, was getting him to throw away the idea, much like the drugs, of the supplements and all this stuff. And I'm like, if you're not eating enough, it doesn't matter. And he would come in with a chicken breast on a fork and walk in shopping. He got very, very big, and now he knows the ins and outs and everything. And if you guys are not following him, check out his YouTube. Ton of great information, and he's hysterical. So someone should watch
awesome.
for sure.
Hey, check out this comment.
I was going to get down to it. Give me a second here, because I didn't want to skim over this one. I'm just picturing it now. I'm at school eating a pound of chicken, watching my favorite show on break. And then before we got to that last comment, I wanted to say, at least, Ron and Scott say Cabo right. Ron, I heard you say cab. How'd you say it? Cabo?
Isn't it Cabo?
Cabo. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought I heard it a little bit different.
Way?
I don't know.
Yeah. This is wild. This is awesome. Keon and I just went to Cabo and are getting married there. Take a boat trip and snorkel, eat at Acre Resort, horseback riding, ride some quads. Sounds like they had fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's awesome.
Quads. She has quads.
Yeah. She's got quads, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. Everyone should be following her. She's great.
Absolutely.
That's
When's the wedding?
fantastic. Thanks for watching the show. Yeah. I picture her and Keon just on the couch with their coffees, listening to us. You'd start your day.
I want to see Ron. I would like to see Keon and her doing the snorkeling. I just want to imagine all of the people watching them, just walking around.
And does Keon float? Because I'll tell you what, when I was at my leanest, I sank. I had a very hard time snorkeling.
Well.
I don't feel like Keon would do very good at floating for snorkeling. You know, it'd be a lot of
work. You
got
to go underwater to snorkel, so that's perfect.
Well, you're at the top. Snorkeling's that's scuba. You just go sink like a rock.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm reading
See, what side effects do you guys see from too high or too low of estrogen anecdotally?
I would say
the only thing. Oh,
go
ahead. I was just gonna say the only thing I really noticed when I was taking like lots of tests, and I would sometimes like not use an AI, and then sometimes I'd just use a little bit of an AI. And the only thing I noticed was when I'd use a little bit of an AI, I felt like I had less water in my ankles. That was the only like immediate like estrogen related thing that I ever really noticed with like high test cycles and stuff like that.
What about you, Scott?
I was going to add that libido will start to go down if my estrogen gets too high, and libido will start to go down if my estrogen is like bottomed out,
too low,
like super low. So that's honestly too. I've run some pretty high estrogen before. Like I had estrogen on the range that goes to 40. I had estrogen that was at like 250. All right. And I didn't even know because like nothing was wrong. I just felt okay. I was in an off season. I'm like, whatever, I just didn't feel like I needed an AI. And then I tested it and I was like, this is a little higher than I expected, but everything felt good, so I could handle that. But that'd be the way I've been able to tell is I feel like, for being on gear, libido should be a little higher than this right now. Better check my estrogen, or prophylactically take a half a milligram of Arimidex and then everything's right with the world again.
Yeah, it's amazing how effective that can be because I've been in exactly the same boat. I remember, seeing my estrogen was like way above the top of normal. And I was like, oh, I'll just take like half a tab of Arimidex a week or something. And then the next time I'd get it checked, it would be like middle of the range. I'm like, wow. Yeah. Like a little bit of Arimidex goes a long way. Because I remember the days when we would take an Arimidex a day during prep for like the whole prep.
Especially at the end. You just blast them in.
I'm like, wow, we must have had no estrogen at all.
No, we would hammer it years back.
Yeah. And there's those guys too, like I still know them. They're like, oh yeah, 6 weeks out, I take a letrozole every day.
Ooh.
Which would zero
awful.
you.
Yeah,
zero. Awful.
So I don't know how they feel.
Terrible. You do too know how they feel. They feel awful.
Look, they're dry.
Yeah.
So a good indicator is if you have an erection when you get up to pee at night.
There you go.
I'm fine then. I'm doing good. You know what? The only thing I don't like about my current lifestyle is that I eat little enough that I'm kind of always in a deficit. So I pee 3 times a night, just like contest prep.
Really?
Yep.
That's how I live. I live my life with like 2 or 3 times a night I have to get up and piss.
Right.
And it's just because I don't eat carbs before bed. I just have a shake with protein and fiber in it, and I go to bed. And I just, So it's like one thing, I want to look a certain way and be light, so I can't eat a lot. And that's going to keep me flushing. And that 2-3 times a night, man, I'm like, oh, fuck. It's like contest prepping forever.
Yeah.
And then Emily lays beside me for 8 hours straight, just coma. I don't know how she does it.
Let's What's this one here? There's one more, something about dieting, bulking. Bulking, eat at estimated maintenance calories of projected goal weight and fat percentage. Stay there. Eventually, you'll learn bit because new maintenance. I don't know what he's saying because he said, "What do you think?" I'll just put this up here. You guys can read it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, he's saying, so it's like kind of the old saying, eat for the weight you want to be, not the weight you are, right? That's the old saying, is if you're 260 and you want to be 275, then you have to eat like you're 275.
Yeah.
So he's like, eat at estimated maintenance of your projected goal weight and stay there, and eventually you'll grow into it. And it'll start becoming a maintenance.
Yeah, if you actually put on that tissue. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Actually,
yeah, I guess.
It's valid if your body fat is the only thing that gets a little scary for me with those, and I agree with that, is just the amount of people that are doing that at 17% body fat.
Right.
And I'm like, now is not the time to also add another X amount of calories to put on 20 pounds, you know?
Yeah.
That's the gray line there, which I don't think happens as much anymore because guys are trying to stay way too lean. But I know that was a mistake I made. You'd be already heavy as possible, you know, you're just fat as shit and you're 260. You're like, well, I want to be 290. So now you're eating for 290 and getting fatter and fatter for no apparent reason. I think that's the one thing there's the line between what we used to do and what's popular now is where the sweet spot is.
Right.
It's between the two. Like, don't do what you're doing now. Don't do what we used to do. And that's the best line for growth. Because I really don't think if you're made for this, that you need to be over 10, 12% body fat ever. Like, that's a lot of body fat if you think about it in percentages. The problem I run into talking to a lot of competitors is they think in weight, not in percentage. So they're like, well, I'm only up 30 pounds from contest. I'm like, but you're 155 pounds. 30 pounds is enormous.
Yeah. How about this one here from Robert?
Valid.
It says, should the calories in protein of hydrolyzed beef supplements be counted towards your daily macros and calories, or is that kind of a freebie because it's a supplement? Thanks so much, guys.
No, it counts as protein. He's using beef protein. That counts as protein. You know, if you're having 300 grams a day, you got to just math that in. Yep. Supplements count too.
Yep.
Yeah. I used to use my hydrolyzed beef collagen first thing in the morning, but now I try to keep it by other foods because of no matter what, it's going to be beneficial, right? Did I say hydrolyzed collagen, not just protein? Yeah. But the amino acid profile maybe isn't the best for growing muscle, but if you were to eat it with complete proteins, then you might have a better chance of better utilizing those protein calories as muscle too. So just because I'm kind of like, I want to try to get in all the protein I can, I take it with breakfast or close to.
I'm taking in 30 grams of collagen a day.
Good. That's high end. That's good.
Yeah. And I'm using that really good stuff. So, yep. Oh, we got 1,000 Thai bots. Aaron, Bodybuilding with Aaron.
Hey, what's up, man?
Cigars on me at the Arnold. I'll be doing the pro qualifier. Right. Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. He's a great guy. I'm glad he's going to be there doing that. Oh, yeah. He left to Thailand. No, well, he's tipped us in Thai bots, so I don't know how that's happening.
He sent me a picture the other day of him holding this massive revolver. He's like, I'm at the range right now. He's like, what should I get? What should I buy?
Was it the Desert Eagle?
No, it was a revolver. It was just a big, massive, like 500. Yeah, it was
like a 50 cal. Was it like something crazy?
Yeah, it's like the 500 Magnum, the big one. Yeah.
What about this one here? What time of day should you take your thyroid sups like T3 and T4? I've never used T4. I don't use it with anybody, so I don't really speak on that. T3, I actually had really good success taking it at night before bed.
Okay.
If I was just using a little bit, like I was just using like 25, I would take it at night before bed sometimes. I don't know where I started where I got that from or whatever, but I liked it. I remember I took it in the morning with breakfast a couple times and felt like it made me really hungry.
Yeah.
And a little bit like not quite hypo, but just like starving. And I was like, I'd rather sleep through that. So I just started taking it at night and going to bed.
That is our generation bodybuilding 101 right there.
You guys sleep through this?
Seeing from talking to some doctors and stuff that I dealt with, they say the best time to take it was actually an hour before your first meal.
T3,
Right, get your T3 in first thing in the morning, and then an hour or longer later have your food, and I think you're going to see the best results from it doing it that way. Now, if you want to avoid being hungry like Ron, then I guess his route would work. I always lean into the, not to say that there's not a better. I mean, I really do think that that's the best time to take it, but I always tell my clients to take their stuff when they won't forget.
Yeah.
Like that's the most important part, is to get it down, but apparently that is the optimal, is about an hour before your first meal.
Yeah, you want it to be, that's one of the ones where you do want to be careful with your food intake. You want it to be on an empty stomach. And I used to, so it kind of has, I'm going to say it kind of has a short half-life, which it has a long half-life, but and it was Tanya Miller who's with us. She was like, no, it has a long half-life. But I was like, but no, I know it has a really short action. So there's a huge spike within the first several hours of taking it. And although the half-life is super, super long, most of the effect is happening early on. So the ideal way is to split it and to take it between meals, like AM fasted, and then take the other half of it, before bed, or 8 to 12 hours later, basically on empty. Yeah. If you really wanted to nail it. And then T4, it doesn't matter as much. You could just take T4 fasted in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with some great coaches. I have never had a coach that gave one single shit about T4. Chad Nichols said he never uses it, doesn't care about it. Chris Aceto didn't even know. He's like, I don't know, never even seen it.
Chris gave the best response that one time.
Like, T4, I don't even care. Like, what's that?
He said something like, using T4 is the equivalent to paying your rent in rolls of pennies.
Yeah.
He's like,
convert it to really dollars.
Yeah. And like, even back, like when I was with Scott Abel, he said T4 is a waste of time. Don't even bother with it. He's
where it's good.
T3 is what you're looking for.
Where it's good is that on growth, and I've seen, so I think a lot of people are just kind of doing this across the board. Kind of like, if I'm doing
the
this
theoretical reasons to use things.
Yeah, so they just do it. But I've seen it with some of the guys I work with. Two people I'm thinking of offhand, where if you use a high enough dose of growth or you use it long enough, then you start seeing an increased conversion from T4 to T3. It'll speed that up, leaving you with low T4. And really, there's no reason that it should be a problem. But what I found is that if we do add some T4 in, even if it's not like bringing you all the way back up, it just seems to help both of these guys have a much better off season. So when we're trying to grow, they can handle food better. And we don't get like that it's not like getting a T4 effect. It's more productive. They tend to it seems like they utilize food better overall.
There's like I've been using T3 and had my T3 and T4 levels checked.
Yeah.
And what I've done this multiple times when I was prepping. I remember like stopping my T3 for like a day or two. So it's, it's out of your system because it, a couple days it's gone. And getting my T3 and T4 checked, and they're both normal.
Nice. No kidding. So it like bounced back real fast.
Well, I think that there's a certain, I never used a heap of it. So I think like, especially with Cytomel, because it kind of peaks quick.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like using Humalog, like a fast insulin. You don't disturb your own, like if you're taking 25 Cytomel a day, once a day, your own thyroid doesn't get interrupted at all. Like it just keeps trucking. And then I like stop taking Cytomel and get my thyroid checked, and it's fine. It's the same. Like I never ever had any interruptions of any kind on paper with any of my thyroid functions using small amounts of Cytomel.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that if you're running, like, I know guys that I remember talking to guys, he'd be like, oh yeah, run 100 150 T4 with 75 Cytomel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, how much are you starving? Are you eating 6,000 calories a day? What the fuck's going on? And I never ever got into that heavy thyroid use like that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
We got a hello from Norway. We got people from all over the place, guys.
Of course.
Yes, and caffeine can diminish the absorption. But kind of like the food thing, I'll tell you that I felt like, because you can feel that the T3 working, like you said, Ron. You like feel the hunger, and
like,
I know
makes you like,
there were days where it wouldn't be perfect for me, where I'm like, well, I'm about to eat, and I forgot to take it, so I'm just going to take it now, whatever. And it was never to me, never like, oh, it didn't work today, you know?
Right.
There it is. Look at it. Keon watches me swim. See, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah. There you go.
There's the clarity we were all looking for.
Keon's sitting on the boat with an ice cream.
Yeah.
Watching his woman snorkel.
That's so much. That's clarity that I thought was definitely the case. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
Anybody remember Regan when he went over to Dubai? He said he left because they pushed him too hard.
I vaguely.
And then he tried to do classic. Yeah. I remember that whole thing.
Push so hard, win the gear. It says.
Oh,
Too hard on the gear side. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was the first time Regan suddenly got to 300 pounds.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a long, slow 300 pounds. It was like just all of a sudden he's 300 pounds. He's like, boom.
Versus, I feel like this is from that back shot, a decent looking, like a legit, 300 off season.
Yeah. Not a feel like death 300. Yeah. I like that.
Get this last question, Scott, because I don't know the answer to it. So I'm
the
curious.
longer we hang out, the more gear questions we get, guys.
But this isn't gear.
That's like any pro seminar back in the old days.
Yeah.
Okay, Dorian.
You go to the seminar.
How much trend, Dorian?
Well, you'd go to the seminar and they'd answer all these questions, and then the seminar would end.
Yeah.
And the buddies and the juice heads that are friends with the promoters would gather closer to the stage.
Yeah.
And the pro would lose, all the regular people, and the families and kids would leave, and the group would get smaller, and then it would get down to, okay, guys, so here's what
I like the way you
doing.
did the
And
look
then,
over your shoulder,
Yeah. And then you get the real seminars, like kind of in the back room. I know how it works.
Yeah. All right. So Steven said, guys, I have a question. Been using MK677 this time around. Hunger gone. Ideas why it would change. Sleep like a baby if I take it at night. But tired in the day. Just feel tired, want to sleep. Huh.
Well, I've never used MK677. I have read lots of stuff about how it does spike your GH. It does do what it says it does, but I know guys say they hold a lot of water on it. Apparently, I never used it. So what do you think is going on here, Scott?
I don't know, but I'll tell him this. So I had experimented with it back in the day too, and I did get good quality sleep. It was the kind of sleep where when I woke up in the morning, I felt there was like a bird sitting on my shoulder chirping, like that really good, like, oh my God.
Cartoon wake up.
Yeah, exactly. Cartoon wake up sleep.
There's a flute playing.
Yeah. The sun's got a smile as it's coming up. But, I agree on the water thing. It's really intense. It's really intense too on our insulin sensitivity. So I found that it wrecks insulin sensitivity way faster than growth hormone does. And it's going to be like super dependent on the individual. So Scott Stevenson showed me some studies. We talked about it on an episode of Muscle Minds, like 100 episodes ago, where they did a study and they took people's blood after 1 day on it and after 1 week on it. And there were individuals that showed a good response after 1 day and no improvement after 1 week. So there's some people in there that it's going to have a trail off effect, and it may be as early as 1 week for you. So I'd keep that in mind. To me, I'm just kind of frugal, so I don't want to spend my money on that when I'm thinking to myself, like, why don't I just get some, generic underground growth that's going to actually give me growth, Yeah,
I I want to touch on this first. During this answer, it says now on the caffeine aspect, like many others, I've taken T3 with caffeine, without caffeine, and in between, and gotten just as lean.
Yeah.
So to summarize, just like growth, the best time to take it is when you take it. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So, and basically the lesson there is what we always say is like, you know, like the one guy said, oh, caffeine interferes with absorption. True, maybe true on paper, but a lot of this stuff, don't let it bother you, because we're talking like 1% and 2% and that sort of stuff. And it's not worth the day-to-day stress. Just plan to take it at a certain time so you always get it. If you happen to have like, you know, because what we don't want is people like drinking a Diet Coke with their meal and then thinking, oh my God, I can't take my T3 now.
Right. Yeah. No.
Oh my
take
God,
it.
I can't take it. And now they have this, like, because there's people that do that, right? Don't do that. Don't worry about that stuff. There's so much stuff that we see on paper that is like, just doesn't really apply long-term over the course of a 4-month prep or whatever. That's all. Just want to throw that out there and remind everyone,
Yeah.
you know, don't let the minutia get in the way.
I think that's a good message. Overall though, I mean, I don't know. I'd look at it as insulin sensitivity though. And you know, check your fasted blood sugar and just see what that's doing to start. That would be my number one thing I'd want to look at with MK.
I think that sometimes when we see, you know how we've had people say like, man, I've prepped before and gotten shredded, and then I prepped with GH and I thought my prep was harder. I've heard people say that. Like they had this, like they just feel like their condition didn't come like it was supposed to. They thought everything would be easier. Yeah. And I think that in those cases, they're dealing with water issues and insulin sensitivity issues. And some people have a harder time with those. Like you've heard people say, like we've all talked to people that were like, yeah, I thought I got ripped. Like when I used to do natty shows, I get peeled, and then I did shows on the gear and I had like water issues and stuff. And that's just part of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think that's about all we had here, Ron.
Jackpot.
Just take it. When in doubt, just take it. Yes.
I agree. Sharp.
There we go. Do we have anything left? I think that was good.
We did it. I think that was it.
I want to thank all these people. We got guys like Dane here that commented like multiple times through the entire thing. That's awesome.
Yes.
Love having people that stick around, and really good watch number. I thank you guys for sticking around like that. Yeah. Why did we go live today, Scott? Why is this an unusual show? Because you had a schedule change, right?
Yeah, Dave Crossland is out of town. He went to Japan for 2 weeks. So
thanks, Dave.
So we were recording last week. We would have had a show ready, and then my house almost burnt down. Like for real. I'm recording and we're doing the show and we're live streaming, and Victoria pops her head in the door, and she's like looking at me and she's like, "Did you look at your phone?" I'm like, "No. What is it?" And so I look at the phone and she said, "There's smoke upstairs." I was like, "What?" So it's like,
that's a text message, not a run down the stairs.
That's a come and get me.
In the future, come get me. That's not a text message.
So I go upstairs. In the upstairs, like our living room, it's not bad, but there is what I would consider to be way more smoke than there should be in our house right now.
As in any smoke.
Right. And I'm looking around and like there's nothing on fire. And it looks like it's like, is it coming from the TV? Did the dog chew on a wire? And then I was like, start feeling the walls. You know, I'm looking in the bedrooms and all that. And then I'm throwing my shoes on and I'm running outside. I'm like, I'm going to go outside and the whole house is on fire. You know, we don't see it yet. Right. You know, something like that.
Getting a show.
Yeah, right. And then we still don't see it. We're feeling the walls and everything. And I was like, our attic is really hard to get into. So I was like, Tori, let's grab the ladder. Go pop your head in the attic. You know, she climbs up there.
Her up. Good call.
Stick your head in there.
And the whole time I'm like, should I be calling 911 right now?
Right.
Like, is this what I'm supposed to do at this minute?
Right.
Where's this happening? Is it
waste everybody's friggin' time? Have 3 fire trucks roll up.
Right.
And you know, yeah.
So then I was like, the furnace. So I ran downstairs. I feel the furnace. It's so hot that when you touched it, if you left your hand, you could touch it for a second, but if you left your hand, you would burn yourself on it. So I was like, okay, it's the furnace. And I turn it off, and then I immediately call a furnace company. And they got somebody out here that day. And here's the deal. So 2 summers ago, the blower went out on my furnace, and I got it replaced. So the guy who replaced it put the wrong motor in. You're not supposed to put like a 3rd horsepower. It's not a choice. It's not like a car where we're going to decide to put a 350 in it. It's supposed to take.
Then you got to change the rear end.
Right.
Yeah. You got to change.
Yeah.
You can't just throw a giant engine in. You got to change all the. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it was one of those deals. They put a motor in that was too small, and it was overheating because it was like 2 degrees or 1 degree outside.
Yeah.
And you got a real cold night finally, and it hit you.
Yep. So finally after 2 years, So it was crazy though. It was a minute there. It was,
What did the guy say? Like he said, like if you would have left it, like was it starting to catch on fire? Is that where the smoke was coming from?
He said it was covered in oil. All the oil was coming out of it, and he's like it was dripping down, and it was doing damage to parts that were downstream of it. So it was causing issues. Thankfully, it looks like it's not going to be. I don't know whether it would happen. I'm just glad it wasn't like the middle of the night or something,
Yeah.
But so anyway, we got it fixed. $2,000 later or whatever. It's all done.
That was 2000.
Right? Yeah. And now I have to get on this other place because they did the wrong thing. So I'm going to try to get a refund from them from 2 years ago now. So we'll see how that goes.
Damn.
And if not, I'll write them a nasty 1-star review, Ron.
Yeah,
3-star. That's
2-star.
Remember.
2-star even. You can go to 2-star. That's as low as you
Can't be 1. Everyone ignores the 1s.
Yeah.
1s and 5s mean nothing.
1s are for crazy people. Yeah.
Well, I think when they almost burn your house down, it's hard to give them a 2.
Well, so people like us will read it, and then you say, "I would have made a 1, but I wanted."
This should be a 1, but I want it to look realistic. Yeah,
it's very. Key.
It's such a sharp. A homeowner has such a sharp contrast to a condo owner. We're sitting around the other day. We just cooked food. We're sitting down, about to watch an episode. We're playing our show, and the fire alarm goes off. Oh. And what do? Nothing. Just turn the volume up. We just turned the volume up.
One.
Yeah,
it's not
just
your
volume
house, so
up real
fine.
loud. Yeah, and we know we got maybe 5-10 minutes of beeping, babe, babe. No, and it's just gonna go, and I'm just sitting there eating. We're watching our show, volume cranked, no interruptions. One dog barks, the other dog just kind of sits and stares.
Yeah.
And we just powered through the first 15 minutes of that episode, didn't miss a beat. And then, kind of look out the window to the street every couple minutes, eventually see some fire trucks pulling up. You're like, well, we'll see if they make an announcement, because sometimes they'll come over the intercom, right? And they'll be like, everything's all right, everybody. We just had a false alarm on the 5th floor, and then that's it. So you just wait for the announcement, but no one leaves their suite. Like, that's just too much hassle. It's some guy it's not a real fire.
Burnt his dinner.
Andrew Barry's with us. What's up, Andrew?
What up?
The coach.
Yes.
We should ask Andrew Barry these gear questions.
Yeah, we'll just send them all to Andrew to send him to the Blood, Sweat, and Gear podcast.
Yeah. I like him. Didn't we have? Wasn't he on our Who Would Coach You list? What was that?
Yeah, he was.
Well, that's when I was on your show. That's when I was on your other show.
No, that was here.
No, that was
they
show,
asked us who would
would you
pick?
Andrew and
and we thought Andrew. Yeah, he'd be a good fit for you. I think you did.
Yeah.
Because he's a tall guy, and he always he himself had to worry about tall guy issues, like making sure he was full and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Making sure the arms popped.
He's on break eating. Of course he is. Okay.
I need to be doing some eating now.
Me too. I'm on a schedule, Dusty.
I'm not. Once I'm hungry, I'm like, I guess I'll eat now.
I read a little, like it was a list of red flags for girls not to date.
Okay.
Right? And it just had all these. Yeah, and there's just all these things that are like, don't date. And then the one was like, if she has a beeping smoke detector in her house, like where the battery's dead and it gives that little chirp every minute chirp.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Chirp. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I've been to people's houses and the chirp is happening.
and they ignore it. You're
I'm
like
like,
nothing.
aren't you guys going to do something about that? They're like, what? I'm like, that chirp. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hear it. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, if there's a chirp one time, I got the ladder out. I'm like, we're fixing this right now.
Yeah, like
I
you just tuned
I
out
keep
and
the
moved on
batteries
with
in
your
the
life?
house. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Have
Not
you guys seen this before? Let me see if you can pull this up. This is the crazy to hot scale.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love how they've added to this because the original one was really great, but you know, the fun zone, information only, do not chase.
Yeah.
You know, do not chase into other zones. Husband zone.
I like
Unicorn
how
don't
they have
exist.
the bottom 50% or the left side is just a no-go zone period for them.
Yeah.
Don't even go there.
I like the top danger zone. What was it? It has what did it?
Oh,
It has
sorry.
Snapchat. Yeah, the danger zone. You got to watch for the danger zone.
I'll bring it back up there. Sorry.
Bring it
about
back.
that. Yeah.
Where did it go? Why is it so hard to get back?
All right.
Has a
there we go.
Snapchat. Yeah.
Has a Snapchat.
Lots of half naked mirror selfies. Danger zone. Some like to live dangerously, though. They like to live on that line.
Yeah.
There you go.
This one was geared
I like
towards
that.
women, though. I can see here because it says
Yeah,
husband
yeah.
zone. You know, but same applies either direction.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny. You know, got to watch your. And hey, if you like to live dangerously, I'm not going to judge you.
Been there.
You know, my girlfriend just did a bikini snowboard shoot.
Oh, no
That makes
kidding.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Who doesn't snowboard in
No.
bikinis?
Well, hey, in Canada, on a spring day, snowboard in a bikini if you want. You know? She's not the first one to do it, Dusty.
No, I'm just proud of her. That's all. Just proud.
Yeah, the crazy hot spectrum. Yeah. You know? Okay. No longer pros and Canadian worthless.
Fact.
Yes. Fact. I know. Okay. So we had a
All
good
right,
one,
all.
guys.
Appreciate everybody.
Yeah, I had a good live. I like hanging out with you guys. And I'm glad to know that my pro status will be grandfathered in
Yes, me too.
when I'm at the old guy meeting. They'll still refer to me as Ron Partlow, IFBB Pro.
It's all that matters in this life.
Okay. And Dusty, I want one of those shirts. I was going to comment on the Army Green shirt when we logged on.
It's a good one.
Done. We're doing the new logo though, so I'll have one for you at the Arnold. Getting
Okay.
made this
Thanks,
week,
buddy.
'cause I gotta have those.
Yeah.
All right, all.
Okay. I appreciate it. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
Ring the bell.
yes. And remember, IamMutant.com. Get your ice surge, get your all in, and everyone should get on the gear. Thanks for coming live, guys. Appreciate you on a Monday. Oh,
St. Peter will
Dusty
ask for your pro card. That's amazing.
I'm not getting in. Okay, thanks.